What are we starting with this week?
We review.
No.
Spotify update.
Well done.
Yay!
Yeah. How many followers do you think we've got on Spotify?
16,000.
Okay.
Ooh,
Actually, do you know what?
14,000.
That's closer.
Ooh.
That's closer.
13,000.
No, that's
14,500.
Whoa!
14,873.
Wow.
And I think by next month, we could hit 15,000, couldn't we?
Most definitely.
I would bloody hope so.
If we don't, we should give up.
If we don't, we'll find...
I honestly might consider giving up.
You better follow on Spotify, or this is the last episode.
We're going to give up. This is the last episode.
They're being serious. They'll do it.
Oh, yeah. I'm quitting. It'll just be Corey here, sat on his own, telling himself about science.
So, before we actually start the show, I just want to ask everyone a question. Everyone in the audience.
That means you.
That's you. How did you sleep last night? Just curious. How did you sleep?
It sounds like you were like whispering in my ear during my sleep.
How did you sleep? How did you sleep? How did you sleep? How did you sleep? Shall we start the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the SCI Guys, the show where we talk about the crazy, weird, and wonderful stories from the science world. I'm Corey, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jeb and Luke Cutfer.
Hey.
This week, we're talking about somnambulism and slaughter.
Some of the...
Yep.
That was a long word I can't pronounce.
And
slaughter. No, slaughter I can pronounce.
Somnambulism.
Subambulance.
Suburbialism?
Suburbia. And slaughter.
Somnambulism and slaughter.
Subamnimulism.
There's a syllable I'm missing. I'm not sure.
Somnambulism.
Somnambulism.
Som.
Nam.
Am.
Oh, am.
Somamulism.
Ambulism.
Somambulism.
Yeah.
So there is an ambulance in there.
No. Well, no.
Ambulism.
Well, I mean, okay.
Somambulism. I got it now. It's fine.
Do you know what it might mean? Do you have any guesses as to what that word means?
No.
None at all?
No.
It means sleepwalking.
Sleepwalking and murdering people.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Is this a thing?
Do you want to know more about sleepwalking? What do you know about sleepwalking already?
Don't wake someone who's sleepwalking.
Okay, so...
Oh, why is that?
What? No.
Ghosts.
No.
Oh, not the answer I was expecting.
Permanent brain damage.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I don't like this misinformation that's being spread between the two
I just
of
thought
you
they'd be
here.
a bit scared.
No.
No. It's ghosts. And brain damage.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
not...
don't need a source for
I
that.
think that might actually be a myth. I think you can wake a sleepwalker without too much issue.
I wasn't presenting that as fact.
Okay.
Misinfo.
Cool.
No, I believe you.
Can you look into camera 3 and say that, please?
I wasn't presenting that as fact.
It actually is camera 3. How did you know that?
Honestly, random guess.
Oh,
I just assumed mine was camera 1 because...
it is camera 1. Well done.
Wow. Amazing.
I'm
What
the
am
most
I?
important.
What
It's
am
in
I?
the order of who Jamp likes the most.
You, himself, and then me.
Yeah.
But Jem hates himself.
Yeah.
Not more than I hate you.
So what is sleepwalking? What is it?
It's when you're sleeping and for some reason you're not paralyzed like you usually are when you sleep,
Mhm.
and you get up and you walk.
Yeah. I mean,
Places.
that's pretty much, that's a pretty succinct description
Thank
of
you.
sleepwalking.
Yeah.
It is mostly in the name. So yeah, it's fairly straightforward. I mean, there's not much I can say about it. So sleepwalking
It's
is...
going to be a good episode.
Glad we're back to this. So it is when someone, and this is from the NHS, walks or carries out complex activities whilst not fully awake. So this is the thing. I say it's pretty straightforward, but it's a bit of a misnomer because you don't need to be a walking when you're asleep walking.
Oh, you could just be doing anything.
You could be doing whatever. You could be
Okay.
cooking up a nice pie. You could be driving
Well,
around.
that would involve walking.
Well, no.
Not if you sleep by the stove.
To people
True.
in,
Okay.
to people in wheelchairs, can they not make pies?
I'm so sorry.
This
Wow.
disgusting ableism from
Well,
you
they
today,
would-
Jam.
I used to wake up and I was peeing in my sleep at the toilet.
Well,
Glad you added that one.
I think
Well, I
that's
also used to
bed
wake
wetting.
up and I peed in my sleep when I was very young. But when I was a little older, I used to walk to the toilet and then I'd start weeing in my sleep. And I think I'd also be dreaming that I was weeing. And then I'd wake up and I'd be weeing.
Into the toilet.
Yeah, into the toilet.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
more.
Good
That's
aim.
more impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Standing up?
Yep.
Seat up?
Yep.
Wow. Amazing.
Well, maybe not seat up. I don't know. I haven't got that clear a recollection of it.
I mean, okay.
I just had a vivid image of him peeing onto the lid and
Yeah,
just
that's
going
what
everywhere.
I was like, you should remember whether the lid is
Sorry, the lid is up. Yes.
Onto the solid lid.
I can't remember. I can't remember if I was standing in my own warm piss or not. Come on.
No, I only found out recently what the lid's for.
What is it for?
Do you know what the lid's for?
Is it for? I thought it was for having a nice sit down. You know, you've had a lovely shower.
I do use it for that.
You need a little
sometimes,
sit.
yeah.
It's for a seat, yeah. No. The lid apparently is for, you put the lid down before you flush it so you don't get splashes out into the bathroom.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but that seems pointless.
You're saying, yeah, like you didn't just not answer when I ask you what it's for.
I mean, like I thought you were going to give
I'll be
something that
honest.
was maybe a little bit more.
Oh,
Maybe not the water, just to keep the smell in
it's
sometimes.
just common knowledge. Okay. Wow.
What-
Well,
I mean, why would the lid be there if not?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
neither of you answered, so
Because I thought
it's
you were.
very easy to claim you know the answer once I've told you it.
Yeah, but okay, right.
yeah.
If you were to say to me something like, do you know what the door on the oven is for? I'd be like, what is the door on the oven for? Be like, oh, to keep all the heat in. Well, yeah, of course. Like I thought there might have been
I thought it'd be something more to it.
yeah, some more to it. You know.
Okay.
To be fair, the splashing I didn't know about. It's just I use it to keep the smell in. So,
Right. Well, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not. So you claimed to know what I said, and then I accused you of
Well,
not knowing in real life.
I knew it was to
and then
keep-
you claimed that you
No.
did know, and then you then admitted that you
I
didn't
knew-
know.
I knew
This
it was
is so confusing.
I knew it was to keep something in.
That's
What else would it be for?
this is all entirely.
It's
on
not to keep
camera.
something out, so it must be to keep something in.
Maybe it's to keep babies out too. I think.
Oh, because they can drown in it.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
drink from it. I don't know. One of the two.
Well, I'd be more concerned about drowning.
I'd be more concerned about drinking. Because
They both lead to the same outcome, but one's
Yeah,
more,
one of them's
one's quicker.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And I want my no. Let's just move on. So sleepwalking is when someone does something, a complex thing whilst asleep. So kicking, not that complex. That's fine. Walking, standing up, maybe even talking a little bit. That's a bit more complex. It usually happens when you've got some deep sleep going on. You're probably not going to be sleepwalking when you're having a little snooze. And it's most likely to happen at the sort of earlier parts of your sleep. So the sort of first half of your
Mhm.
what's the word? There's no word for it. is there?
sleep cycle.
Yeah, well, I mean, you go through different cycles. I'll get
Oh.
into that more in a little bit.
Yeah,
REM.
like your sleep. Oh, you mean like the first half of your period of sleep?
Yeah. yeah.
Right. So that can be like one of the first few cycles.
Mhm.
So like, yeah, it's like the first half of your day, but it's your night.
Yeah. Yeah.
First half of your day, night.
It's your sleeping day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your
So
career. That's half of your sleeping career.
yeah, so it's the first few hours after you fall asleep. And it can happen at any age, but it most commonly happens in kids, which makes sense. You usually hear about kids sleepwalking, like Luke his sleep wetting.
I don't sleep
What?
wet.
No, into
Well, you wet
into
the
the
toilet.
toilet.
You wet the toilet,
Yeah.
where it's already wet, I suppose.
Sure.
Don't know. So no, I mean it's
If I spray a hose into a pool, I'm not going. I'm wetting the pool.
I'm wetting the pool. I'm wetting the whole pool, and I'll continue wetting it until I can't get it any more wet.
if you're filling up. I mean, some parts of that pool are dry, so I would say that you
Hey.
are wetting.
Hey, Corey, would you like me to wet you a glass to
Yeah.
drink?
Oh yeah, wet me some glass.
Do you want
please.
this wet glass, Corey?
Oh.
Delicious.
That glass is very wet.
I know. That's how I like it.
This is particularly wet.
Can't stand a dry glass.
Oh gosh, utterly pointless. I think.
I mean, yes.
So apparently, up to 1 in 5 kids will sleepwalk once, and apparently as many as 17% of children sleepwalk. So I've got different numbers based on this. So roughly about 20%. So 17 to 20% is the number of kids that will sleepwalk at some point. And apparently 2 to 4% of adults will still walk around or scream at night. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh,
Is
Yeah.
screaming considered a complex task and
I mean-
therefore sleepwalking?
Yeah, I think that what the thing is that these are all kind of grouped under sleep disorders.
Mm.
So you've got like sort of night terrors. There's sort of a comorbidity with sleepwalking there. Yeah. So all of these kind of things can be grouped together sometimes.
What about Jamp, who loudly and clearly chuckles in his sleep?
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
I sleep laugh.
You talk
yeah.
in your sleep too, don't you?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you talk quite a
It's
lot.
the
Pretty sure I
chuckling,
do.
though. It's the chuckling.
Oh no, I do. I have conversations with
Mhm.
Phoenix in my sleep, and I don't remember any of them.
My brother used to do that.
Yeah.
My little brother, he used to sit up and like talk about
Yeah.
stuff and then just fall right back asleep.
My mum once walked into my room and I sat up and I turned to her and said, "Pass the Parker pen, please, Peter." And then went back to sleep.
She slowly closed the door.
Definitely the spirit of a young Victorian child speaking through me.
Still living inside of you today, I think.
Hello, mummy.
I once woke up like laughing hysterically, as in laughing so hard that I woke myself up. And my mum was outside my room. She came in. She was like, "What were you laughing at?" And I was like, "I was asleep. I don't know. Not really."
Yeah, that's how it feels.
Yeah, must have been really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's most common in kids, which makes sense. I mean, that whole sort of you hear about lots of kids talking to sleep or walking around, getting up and doing stuff. And so usually when people sleepwalk, sleepwalking, let's say, usually this kind of stuff, it's just sitting up, looking around, seeming like they're confused. Luke's doing a very perfect example of this right now. Are you sleep podcasting, Luke? Don't wake him. He might go into a fit of...
He might start screaming.
He might fall into a fit of rage.
Pen, please, Peter.
Oh no.
Pass it now.
Oh no, it's the fifth SCI guy, the little Victorian boy. Yeah, so...
It's a growing lineup. If Luke can't come in one week, we can just hit up the and just talk to the little Victorian boy.
But he needs me as a vessel. So.
Yeah, but you don't have to be here mentally. It's fine.
But you won't be able to hear him.
Well, we'll just get him to video call in, I think.
Okay.
Oh, it's going to be difficult for him to figure that out. He's from
Victoria.
He's from the Victorian era, yeah.
What's a computer, sir?
What is a Zoom?
So, people could get up, they could eat, they could open cupboards, get dressed, they could do lots of stuff. And it seems fake almost, right? That you can be getting up and doing all of this stuff while asleep. It seems like something someone would just say, "Oh yeah, I wasn't sneaking snacks in the kitchen. I was just sleep snacking." It's actually a thing. So people could also walk outside, get in their car, drive, all of that sort. Yeah, like driving.
Drive.
Yeah, there are cases of people apparently driving in their sleep, and usually people's eyes will be sort of open, but they'll not be looking at anything really. Apparently, like their eyes will sort of like kind of be up a little bit, so they'll look a little bit vacant.
Possessed.
Yeah. Well, sure. Yeah. Look a little bit vacant. Look like they don't really know what's going on. That sort of thing. And specifically as well, if someone that's sleepwalking looks at you, they're not gonna. It's not like they're recognizing you. They can't even really sort of see you. Really, their eyes are open, but like no one's home. Yeah. And usually you can talk if you can talk to someone while they're sleepwalking. Whether or not they respond, it's another thing. Like you guys speak in your sleep, right?
I'm told.
Or you have done. Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah, I've never experienced it firsthand.
Have you ever seen someone speak in their sleep? Have you ever tried to have a conversation with someone while they're sleeping?
Well, I have heard someone speak when we were filming Braxton.
Oh yeah.
Pete was a notorious speak sleeper.
Yes, he was.
We had a whole quotes list.
Our art director, Pete.
He said the funniest things.
Oh, he was brilliant.
I think one was like, "Pass me the watermelon," just out of nowhere.
I do have one note from when we were filming Arthur Braxton, which is that asleep, as I took my trousers off, Pete said, "Whoa." Oh yeah, we got thanks guys, we got that. Oh, and also because we were filming a film, long corridor shots, and let's finish this today. And just 2.5. We need to be more adaptive.
The poor man was on set in his sleep. Couldn't get a break.
Long corridor shots.
Long corridor. That's a wrap.
Yeah, so as you can see, people can actually speak in their sleep, but speaking back to them, they probably won't respond. You can't really have a conversation. It's kind of like one of those, probably more like one of those sort of one-sided conversations, or when you're speaking to those like sort of AI robot things online where you can type in a message and they'll give you a response.
But they don't fully understand what you replied.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes they'll make a response that's just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It's probably a little bit more like that sort of thing. Usually people sleepwalk for 10 minutes or less. It's kind of like Ben 10. But they can do it for longer as well. Like Ben 10 Alien Force. I don't know why that's in my
I've never seen that. Sorry.
It's a great show. You should watch it. So usually they won't remember any of their sleepwalking or any of their antics. If they do remember some of it, it's usually sort of bits and pieces. basically you can't really form new memories when you're sleepwalking. I mean, some people can sometimes, but as a general rule, you're gonna forget it. And usually, if they wake up as well, sort of directly after sort of sleepwalking episode, they could be very confused and be like, "What's going on?" Sort of disorientated, all of that sort of stuff. And a key thing here, I've kind of alluded to this already, is that your sort of senses are basically just switched off. You can't really sense what's going on around you. People will usually like sort of stumble around. When I say you can't really sense what's going on around you, it's not in the same way that we sort of look around and see stuff, right? People will stumble around, sort of bump into stuff, kind of feel their way around. They can hear, and that you can say something, they'll kind of respond, but they're not processing the information. Smells won't really do much, that sort of thing. They can drive, but like it's sort of more of an automatic thing. We spoke about this already, actually, kind of before, how driving it can be a fairly automatic process in that your conscious mind isn't really involved in it all the time. So you can see how people can kind of do all of this stuff. So it's basically your higher sort of sensory sort of functions are just not really switched on. Everything else is just kind of like being filtered through the rest of the brain.
When you say that they will sleepwalk for about 10 minutes, do they generally wake up after those 10 minutes, or do they take themselves back to bed?
Some people can wake up, some people can take themselves back to bed.
Cool.
Yeah. And I mean,
Wow.
yeah. I think it would be funny to move someone's bed while they're sleepwalking.
Oh no.
Just mess with them.
Ooh.
It'd be so confusing, you know? You
That's
wake
when they
up, your
start
bed's
screaming.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you guys know what might cause sleepwalking?
No.
No?
Is it the part of the brain that's responsible for paralyzing you,
That's
not
what I was-
going to sleep properly?
That's what I was thinking. Is it the amygdala? It's not the amygdala.
No, it's to do with
Amygdala is
stress.
stress and fear and all that
Stress,
stuff.
yeah.
No, well, I don't expect you to know. That was a kind of a trick question. We don't really know. We don't really know what causes
You
sleepwalking.
pest.
Well, you can say I don't know. That's always a perfectly viable answer. But we apparently sleepwalking can be kind of hereditary. So if members of your family sleepwalk a lot, then you're more likely to sleepwalk. Or if they've got night terrors, like I said, you could also sort of be more likely to sleepwalk. Night terrors, by the way, is that sort of thing where people are screaming and going nuts in their sleep. Yeah. No, not cool to be around. And some things we've noticed can sort of make sleepwalking worse or trigger an episode. But then again, the thing is that I'm looking at studies. It's hard to sort of pin down specifically whether these things actually have a huge effect. Some of them do, some of them maybe less so, in that the NHS says that they do. I found another place that said, here's some misconceptions. This thing doesn't have as much of an effect as you think.
Oh.
But I'll just go on what the NHS is saying. So they say not getting enough sleep, stress and anxiety, infection with a fever, especially in kids, drinking too much alcohol, taking recreational drugs, but taking professional drugs must be perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's weird. There's at least a little bit of crossover there. What if you get prescribed morphine? Is that heroin or not?
So certain types of medications, such as some sedatives, they've covered their bases there. Just say drugs. Being startled by a sudden noise or a touch, causing abrupt waking from deep sleep. Waking up suddenly from deep sleep because you need to go to the toilet. So that makes sense. there. Yeah, so I think...
Me wetting my toilet bowl.
Look at you. Get it all nice and moist. Nothing like a damp toilet bowl. And there are other disorders that can cause you to wake up suddenly during the night when you're sleeping deeply, like sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome. All of those, they could trigger a sleepwalking episode as well. So sleepwalking can be basically triggered by being asleep and then suddenly waking up, but not really doing it
Fully.
right.
Yeah.
Kind of messing up the whole wake up there, you know? And so that can cause sleepwalking episodes. Just want to go back to the recreational drugs thing. That does bother me that they say that they say recreational drugs instead of just like drugs.
But did they not say then medications?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they call non-recreational drugs, is it not?
Yeah. So if it's both of them, then just say
Yeah.
drugs.
Well, so I suppose it's because the majority of people
Yeah.
put those things into two
Yeah.
separate categories, as if the line really does exist. And they don't think of medicines as drugs, and they don't think as drugs as the same thing as medicines. They think of, these are the ones the government says yes to, these are the ones the government say no to, and there's something objective about why they say that.
I don't even think it's these are the ones the government say yes to and these are the ones the government say no to. I think it's these are the good ones and these are the bad ones.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the government saying yes and no is another step. I think most people genuinely are like, oh, morphine, that's good for me. Oh, the heroin, bad for me. No. Don't do heroin or morphine. Both are,
Well, do morphine if your doctor tells you to do morphine.
if your doctor prescribes you morphine. If your doctor just...
Oh, man. You should do some fucking morphine.
Hey, you tried morphine?
Oh, come on, bro. Be cool. It's chill. Peer pressure from your doctor.
No.
I'm prescribing something that's just professional peer pressure, isn't it? That's what it is.
State subsidized professional peer pressure.
Ah.
So, treatment. Do you think there's any treatment for sleepwalking?
Tie you down.
Jeez, they're
Don't
not
go
a
to
werewolf.
Sleep. Don't go to sleep.
Okay, I feel like both of you... Both
Sleeping
of these,
pills.
Well, yes,
makes the
they
problem
can.
worse. You're asleep and it's a drug.
Oh, true. It's a drug.
Yeah.
Depends which type. It might be a medicine.
I think anti-sleep pills would probably be better. Just completely remove the problem, right?
Yeah. Caffeine.
Death.
that solves most
The
problems.
cure to
Yeah, it
most
does
problems.
actually,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. There is no specific treatment for sleepwalking, according to the NHS. They might be hiding one or two from us. They're not. Well, no, they're not.
Well, tying you down would do it.
No, it wouldn't.
Why not?
Because you'd still be sleepwalking isn't just walking.
Oh, come on. That's a stupid
It's also
definition.
screaming. You have to put a
It's
suck in them.
You- that's
Take out the voice box. Take out the voice
True,
box and tie them
true,
down.
true, true.
Solved all the problems.
no, you're not because right.
This is where the slaughter comes in.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah, that's the permanent solution to sleepwalking.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Generally, what people would recommend for sleepwalking is not murder or
Oh,
bondage. It's getting a better sleep schedule. Feel
Yes,
like you
I
should
was-
probably try
I
that
was
one
about
first.
to say get better sleep schedule. I always find if it happens mostly
After tying down.
Yeah, after
you
tying
tried
down
that,
and murder.
removing the voice box,
Yeah.
then you should try that.
Oh yeah, grievous bodily harm, murder, tying down, or you could try and sleep better. I
Just go to
guess.
bed
If
earlier,
none of
you know?
those work,
Yeah.
go to bed earlier.
Exactly.
If you say it happens most of the time when you're in deep sleep, I always find that when I have not slept properly for a few days, like I've had loads of stuff on, I've been stressing or working late, I then the following week, I will have such vivid dreams and sleep so deeply. Like I will feel much more like loads of times passed, or like I went completely unconscious for a significant amount of time and dream much more vividly. So yeah, if you've got a rubbish sleep schedule, then you're definitely going to be more likely to end up deep sleeping. And if you are prone to sleepwalking, sounds like that deep sleeping will make you sleepwalk more. Sleepwalk more.
Okay, good. The NHS also has some more advice for sleepwalkers. I mean, akin to Luke's brilliant one there. Going to bed at the same time each night, making sure your bedroom is dark and quiet when you're trying to go to sleep. Try to have fewer drinks before you go to bed, especially ones that have got caffeine in them, and go to the toilet before you go to sleep. All of this sort of stuff, obviously. So limiting drinks before bedtime means that you're not going to be likely to need to pee. Your brain isn't going to be like, hey, wake up, and, not do it all properly. Caffeine is going to, if you've got caffeine, you're not going to sleep properly. I don't know if you've ever taken a bunch of caffeine and then tried to go to sleep. It is not.
Yeah, you just lie there.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. So you could also find other ways to relax before going to bed, like having a warm bath, reading, or deep breathing. Man, I sound like I'm in cams. Why don't you have just a nice warm cup
Have
of
you
tea?
tried drinking water?
Oh, have you tried like having a nice warm cuppa? That'll make you feel better, right? A nice warm cuppa.
Yeah.
Or there's some advice here for parents. You could wake your child about 50 minutes to half an hour before they normally sleepwalk, just to catch them before it, and you could probably curb it that way. But then you've got to deal with a kid that has been woken up, which honestly,
Worse.
worse, arguably. I think just tying them down would probably be for the best for everyone,
Yeah,
right?
look at it right.
I never said you should do this to children, just to yourself.
How are you going to tie yourself down?
Yeah, okay.
So apparently, you usually don't use medicine to treat sleepwalking because, as we know, some drugs can make it worse. But they have there is like sort of precedent for using antidepressants or benzodiazepines to treat sleepwalking. Basically, only if there's a risk of you injuring people, which can happen. And essentially, what these can do is just help you sleep and make you less likely to wake up. During sleepwalking, you'll still wake up. Like not in general, you'll still wake.
Take this; it'll make you less likely to wake up.
Here's some cyanide. We've hit on all of Luke's solutions. Fantastic.
There we go.
So, do you guys know what happens to the brain during? Well, okay, let's talk about what happens to the brain during sleepwalking. But first, let's maybe go through. Do you know what happens during normal sleep? Just roughly.
You go through different wave patterns in your brain through alpha waves and beta waves.
Delta. I know Delta's in
Is
there
Delta
somewhere.
sleepy?
So,
Or is Delta normal?
I think Delta's is it not quite alert?
so the
Oh.
Anyway, I think
I've got them all mixed up.
So you've got different. Yeah, you're right. You've got different cycles of sleep. So after sort of 90 minutes, so you've got 90 minutes of slow waves sleep. And then you increase the frequency. Then the sort of frequency increases, and that's REM sleep, which we've spoken about before. We did a science of sleep episode, did we? We did a science. We did some sleep
Signs
science
of dreams and yes,
Check those episodes out.
something.
They'll be there. Just watch all of our episodes. It's worth doing it. And that pattern of 90 minutes of slow wave, and then REM sleep, fast, slow, then rapid activity, that repeats about 3 to 5 times a night. Yeah? And this is the thing. During sleepwalking, essentially what happens is your brain kind of stays asleep, but the sort of part of your brain responsible for sort of movement carries on doing it. So what we used to think was that motor activity was all in the cerebrum, which is sort of a higher part of the brain, right? That's where you've got higher sort of brain functions like thoughts, all that sort of stuff. And what we find out is through sleepwalking is that essentially the brainstem and the cerebellum, the sort of lower areas of the brain, that those are the bits that control you sort of breathing, all the stuff that you don't have to think about. Those parts can still basically have an impact on motor function. So the idea is that essentially the sort of higher part of the brain, the cerebellum, can basically regulate and sort of, what's the word? Regulate and sort of, control movement. But it can still be sort of done by the lower brain. Right, so the higher brain basically says, "Okay, do this sort of movements," but the lower brain is like, "Yes, master, I'll do it. Thank you." And when the higher parts of the brain are sort of asleep, the lower part of the brain can be like, "Now it is time. I will do what I please." So again, look. And this is the thing. This was a fairly big change. Like I said, essentially we thought that the lower parts of the brain, the sort of brainstem and cerebellum the brainstem and the cerebrum were just for breathing and things that you don't think about, but apparently they control movement as well. And so essentially when you're asleep, because your higher part of your brain, where all your sort of consciousness and thoughts and feeling, all that sort of stuff lives, that's basically switched off. That's basically asleep, right? It means that when you're sleepwalking, you're kind of acting without being conscious.
Sure.
If that makes sense. So it's like you don't really have consciousness, you're just doing stuff. It's kind of similar, I guess, to how it feels when you've got alien hand syndrome, which we spoke about on our recent bonus episode on Patreon, which you can watch, patreon.com/SCI GUYS. It's kind of like that, wherein a part of your body is kind of acting without your control. Except in this case, it's your whole body, and you're not conscious at all, which is pretty cool. So that's why you can't sort of remember what's going on, because the parts of your brain that are involved. Well, that's why you can't sort of sense what's going on around you or remember things, because parts of your brain involved in creating those kinds of memories and parts of the brain involved in sort of processing that visual information. Those are asleep. Whereas the part of your brain that is just doing the moving, that is awake essentially.
It's a really interesting conversation actually. I remember seeing I think it was a documentary on I think it was BBC about this trigger warning here, sex things. This sort of bad sex things. This documentary about this syndrome where I think it was mostly men were claiming that in their sleep they were sort of coming onto their partners. It may well not be mostly men, I don't know. And the partners were obviously describing this the next morning, and the person who was doing this didn't have any recollection of it, and obviously that puts you in a really difficult legal position as to determining guilt in that situation, which is actually something we talked about recently in an episode about kind of the legal system. Was that the
It was a bonus episode.
It was a bonus episode on Patreon
Mhm.
about determining guilt based, like that's how part of the legal system is determining how much the individual can be held responsible for the actions that did happen and that they did do. But did they, that sort of thing. And I suppose this sounds like it has some crossover there, and that will probably be classed as a form of sleepwalking or sleep disorder.
Yeah.
Very horrible. But the science, as far as I remember it in this documentary, turned out that the person, they were telling the truth. It wasn't a lie. And they did this by putting them in sort of sleep labs and observing their brain waves and observing what they were doing at night. And just this really strange disorder where people would wake up and come onto their partners and they weren't there to stop it. And their partner was obviously very uncomfortable with that because they were trying to sleep.
Yeah. I mean, the sort of solution to this, I mean, in terms of if someone is asleep, you can try and wake them up.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like I don't think you should be scared of trying to wake someone up that's sleepwalking. This sort of like they'll go into a murderous rage. Yeah, it's not true. But yeah, no, the sort of list of things that you can do in your sleep is unbelievable. I mean, basically, because you can do so many things, as we've discussed in, I think previous episodes and bonus episodes in particular, there are lots of things that your brain does without you being conscious of it or you needing to consciously sort of control it. And so sleepwalking kind of shows that there are lots of actions that can be carried out without the brain needing to be conscious really at all. Which I think is it's interesting in that the sort of questions that it brings up about, well, how relevant is consciousness to what people are able to do, really? And I mean, the answer is that it's not super important, you know? Yeah. So, and this is the thing. You can see basically you can sort of like you said, like you can sort of look at someone's brain, use EEGs to EEGs. Yeah, EEGs to study someone's brain while they're asleep and show that they're not actually really conscious while they're sleepwalking. And again, you can also see that if you've ever been have you ever seen them with someone that's sleepwalking, they're not really responsive to any sort of stimulus, really. So I told you that we're going to be talking about sleepwalking and slaughter.
Yes, we haven't had much slaughter come up yet.
We've not. No, this is sort of.
I did try to bring up some
Yeah, so did I. I had a go, gave it a go.
You guys are going to feel real bad about being so lighthearted about this.
No,
No,
is there
really.
actual sleep murderers?
Well, yeah. So we're gonna sleep murderers. They murder sleep. No. So we're gonna be talking about some actual sleepwalking murders. Well, one in particular. It came up in the book that I've been speaking about because I finished reading it and it's been bounced around my head.
Incognito.
Yes.
There you go.
So it's on the table, by the way. Jam didn't remember. He didn't remember that.
I did remember.
Oh, did you?
I had to edit it into a thumbnail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't see it on the table. I don't know what you're on about, Corey. Jamp's
This
got
is
a wonderful memory.
This is the
I know.
third time this book has been brought up on this podcast.
I know. I thought you were looking at it and
must be
trying
a
to
bloody
pass
good
off.
book.
I thought you were looking at it and trying to pass off that it was.
Oh yeah, Incognito by David Eagleman. By any chance? I'm familiar.
No, honestly, the thing is, it brought up a lot of interesting ideas that have kind of come up in the topics that I've been researching. So, very useful book for me. So, there's the story of a man named Kenneth Parks, who on the night of May 23rd, 1987, got out from his bed, went into his car, drove to his parent-in-law's house, and attempted to murder them. He succeeded in murdering his mother-in-law and did not succeed in murdering his father-in-law. Apparently, he took a tire iron from the car and tried to beat them and choke them and use a knife, all that stuff. All the while, entirely asleep. He woke up and then immediately drove himself to the police station. And I actually have a quote here from him. He said, once he was at the police station, "I think I've killed some people. My hands." He was covered in blood. He drove to the police station. He had no idea what happened. He was confused, all of that stuff. It was his family. He didn't want to. It's not like he hated them or anything. He just woke up and
in his sleep.
Yeah, woke up and he'd murdered his mother-in-law. And the thing here is that obviously the guy did a murder, so they put him on trial for it, right? And this was a really this is why I want to bring it up, because it's kind, I mean, we've already kind of brought this up, Luke. It is interesting in that the law it wasn't necessarily set up to deal with this effectively, because you can sort of, there is some sort of leeway in the law. We spoke about this already on the bonus episode. There's some leeway in the law for people that have done things due to their mind basically being affected by some kind of illness or something along those lines. But this doesn't really fall under that. There wasn't any particular sort of illness that caused him to sort of be sort of legally insane. You know, you couldn't say that he's not guilty by way of insanity, because that doesn't really play with the way that the law worked. And essentially the people the prosecutors were dealing with this, saying this is ridiculous. You can't kill someone and then say, "Oh, I was asleep." But the case went on, and after about a year, about a year later after the murder, he was found not guilty. And he was acquitted of both charges. And his wife was behind him on it as well, apparently. In that, like, he had no ill will towards any of his family. He just woke up and that happened. He had a history of sleepwalking. And this is the thing. I found two separate accounts of this. So I've heard that he did have an EEG done. He did have the test to see whether, you know, he was a sleepwalker. And I've also found someone saying that he didn't. So I'm not really sure specifically whether he had the test or not. But if this were to happen now, in these cases, this is a key thing that you would have to check, because otherwise people could just be like, "Oh yeah, I was
sleepwalking, yeah.
I was so asleep, man, you don't even know." Yeah, and so the legal system, it's not necessarily there at the time. I think there had been about 35 or so cases of sleepwalking murder. That was in 87. It's hard to find it. I'm not sure the exact numbers now, but likely there have been a few more. It's much easier now, obviously, to determine whether someone sleepwalks or not, because all you need to do, like you said, Luke, is just put them in a room, measure them while they sleep for a bit. But like I said, he was sleepwalking. He had no memory of what had happened. His wife, like I said, testified that he didn't have any motive. And do you guys know what the mens rea is?
No.
So it's basically the motive to commit crime. So if you're gonna basically if you're gonna sort of convict someone for a crime, if you're gonna say they're guilty, you need to show that there's the mens rea, the sort of motive, and there was the intent to commit a crime, right? And there's no intent here. There's no desire to commit a crime. There's nothing like that. It's just the man was asleep, completely unconscious, and according to the I think it was the Supreme Court it got to, not liable for his actions whilst asleep.
What do you do though because I mean, this is something, as we said, we spoke about on the Patreon bonus episodes this month, but what do you do so you're not holding this person guilty for their actions, but they are still a potential threat in that might happen again. And so that person is therefore more likely than an average citizen to commit murder, or not to commit murder by guilt, but to cause murder to happen, to cause the death of a person, an innocent person. So what do you do in that element? Because you have, like we spoke about in the Patreon episode, you have two elements of imprisonment. You have the perception that prison is a punishment, and you also have separating somebody from society for their own good and for the good of the society. And that sounds like this person, if they don't have some solution to this problem, they're not necessarily safe to be in society, if that's a potential.
Yeah, I feel like this is a difficult topic though, isn't it? Because this man is functionally innocent. right? Like and then you get into the question of, well, if we start throwing people in jail because they're at higher risk of, they're at more risk of being a danger to society. I mean,
but he's not at higher risk. He has proven that his physical body and subconscious mind has the potential to be,
true,
and has been a danger to society. So, do they just go back to complete normality and just hope that never happens again?
As far as I'm aware, nothing, like, he was acquitted, so nothing
Wow.
went on to happen. And I mean,
It's just accepted as part of the risk of being a person in society is that some tragic things happen,
yeah,
like being hit by a car. It's like tragic things happen, and that's part of risk of being alive.
yeah, I suppose.
Wow.
Because I mean, this is the thing, that the law, or at least as it was in the 80s, and to be fair, kind of at least still now, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I'm not a lawyer. Someone please let us know if we're wrong on this. But I don't think the law is really fully set up for the sort of intricacies of the brain now.
Sure.
You know, we spoke about this already. That you can do an IQ test and be like, and not be held, basically not be put to death for a crime. You could turn 18 and, you know, the day before, oh, you're not going to get the death penalty. The day after, sorry mate, it's a chair for you. All of these, like, we've got kind of little hints towards, there are some cases where people are less culpable for the crimes that they've committed, but the fact that you know, you can do these kind of complex activities just completely unconscious, kind of shows the sort of seams, the stress points of our justice system. And this was in the US, but there have been cases, I think, in the UK where there's been similar sort of, like, this person wasn't necessarily liable for their actions. And yeah, I just don't think that the way that we deal with crime right now is, I think it's bad in general. There's lots of things wrong with it. But it's interesting in these sort of fringe cases that what do? You just send this guy back out into the world, I guess. And it's the same with the people who are sleeping and sort of try and make a move on their partners. What can you do? You can't.
Yeah.
You're gonna put them in jail? I mean, is it on them to? Is it on this guy to tie himself up before he goes to bed to make sure that he can't get out and go somewhere? If it's a case of like having a lock on your door where you need to complete some kind of maths problem to get through it, something like that, then maybe that's what you've got to do, right?
But then what if there's a fire? Oh,
you're not going to sleep.
What's 18 times 5? What's 18 times 5?
No, it would be simple, as in you couldn't do it, as in you need to be
2 + 2.
Okay.
conscious. You know?
Yeah.
Cause of death, bad at maths.
Yeah, or voice command would not work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there you go.
Reading, you could maybe have it read. Can you read while you sleepwalk? You could say, read this word, and you just say, bananas, and then it lets you out.
But that's still voice recognition, isn't it?
But you'd have to consciously read the word. So
Yeah,
it's
but-
whether
oh,
you can read
it'd be
the
a
word
specific
in your
thing.
sleep.
My point was not, that's where I was going with voice recognition. My point with voice recognition is that it's so easy to fail. The number of times I've said to Google, hey, Google, do this.
Yeah.
He doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Especially if there's a fire behind you.
Yeah. Hey,
That's
Google,
true.
let me out. There's a fire. Sorry, did you say play sex on fire?
Whoa! Let me out.
Let me
You
out.
would hope that your door lock that prevents you from murdering people wouldn't be run by Google now.
I don't know. I'd want it to be connected to the rest of my house, simplicity's sake. Yeah, and this is the thing. So this is there is actually there is a name for this kind of thing. These actions that are not conscious and not like are done sort of automatically without the sort of conscious involvement. They are called automatisms. Yeah. And the whole thing behind this is that just doing something, an illegal act is not enough. You need to sort of show that there's sort of guilt of mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if there ain't no mind involved, there ain't no guilty mind. Yeah.
But that's so interesting because again, we keep coming back. This is it's very tangential to our bonus episode, but I guess that comes back to the problem of the fact that the legal system is set up primarily, as far as we could tell, to be a deterrent and a punishment system, as opposed to sort of separate people who pose a threat to society from society. which it also claims to do,
Mhm.
but it also puts people who are not a threat to society away from society.
And also just leaves a bunch of people that are a threat to society.
At
Like,
large.
I feel like Donald J. Trump was a big old threat to society, and he also did a few crimes, and yet
But
he
Rich, Corey, I think you're forgetting Rich.
no, his name is
Oh, so he's not.
Donald.
Yeah.
No, his name is Rudy Giuliani, actually.
Seriously though, like I mean, maybe instead of making criminals the president of the United States, we should put them in jail.
No way.
Good solution.
I don't know.
You
just
commie bastard.
just a hot take here from me. If someone does a crime against the people and admits that crime on tape, maybe don't make them the president. That's probably the first step to fixing the legal system.
Typical of the extreme left.
Wanting to put people away for crimes.
Hey, yeah,
That
you
they invented.
advocating putting people away for crimes now, Corey? It's not what you said in the bonus episode.
I'm just advocating for some
If
consistency.
we're gonna
here.
put people away,
Yeah, if we're gonna be doing it, right? Like,
This man should probably be put away.
you're right. If it was up to me, all criminals would become the president of the United States at least once.
Marxism at its finest.
That's what Marx said. Make prisoners the president. That's what he said.
Each according to his crime.
I do wonder, like, if we went down the model which we discussed again in the bonus episode. God, this is just a massive plug for the Patreon. This episode, isn't it?
Oh no!
But if we went down the route we suggested, which was basically like actually making the primary purpose of criminal justice to rehabilitate people, how much therapy would Donald Trump need? He would need so much therapy. I don't think
About
you'd,
150 years.
like if he had that.
No.
There was that book that was by a member of his family. I think it was auntie or something, who was describing the life he grew up in, where it was just such a like they were all like begging for acceptance from their extremely overbearing capitalist father, etc. I can't remember the details, but like, and he learned his lesson at a young age was like the purpose of life is to be powerful, essentially, and to win. Like how and that's so deep rooted in him. It's clear that it's so deep rooted in him. He just have to have so much therapy.
Well, we've already got a solution for this. We spoke about this the other day. It wasn't specific to Trump, but it does apply. Remember the opening of The Simpsons? Maggie Simpson. You think she's driving,
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
but
yeah.
actually Marge is driving. Do the same with him. I don't know.
Right.
Give him a little business to run. You know, make him think he's big and important. Give him a Twitter,
He can be
okay?
the president of
and
the
he
street.
he gets to tweet on his Twitter. It's like those kids' phones that have got the fake little apps on. He gets to tweet on his Twitter. He thinks everyone's mad at him.
But he's actually shadow banned.
Yeah.
And he gets fake retweets.
It's not-
It just
yeah,
says
it's-
like 58 million retweets. Wow, look at me.
It could be an app called Trumper, and he's just talking to an AI. It's just AI's interacting with him. Wow, I'm so popular on this app.
Hey man, we should make that. That would feel great.
Yeah.
It'd make him feel so happy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be doing a nice thing for an awful man.
But to keep him away from everywhere else.
Yeah.
Put him
Yeah.
afield somewhere with that.
I feel like Boris might be a little too bright for that, but I think we could work a similar solution for him.
Mhm.
I don't know. Just give him lots of women to have affairs with, I think.
No, Corey. You can't give him loads of women to have affairs with.
Why not?
What if the women don't want to have affairs with him?
Oh no, fake women, not like actual women.
fake
AI.
women.
Yeah.
AI women.
Yeah, like I
Wow.
don't know, like robot women.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
then one day when the quantum supremacy happens and the AI comes back to us and they take the revenge and they're like, why are you doing this? And they, because you made us have affairs with Boris Johnson.
Okay. Look, how about this? Just sex dolls, but we make those realistic ones that look like real people. Because
Oh.
let's be honest, how much talking are the women that are with Boris Johnson actually going to be doing?
Well, Carrie Simmons does a lot of talking.
To Boris
She's
Johnson?
very active.
Do you think
in the
he
political
listens?
world. Oh. Well, I don't know.
Just put a radio in them. Just have it.
Yeah, Barbie has 5 sayings.
You're my favorite deputy.
He won't know. It's like a Woody voice box. He won't know the difference. Pitch shift it.
There's a snake in my boot.
Oh dear.
Oh, God.
So I said that there were automatisms. Those are the sort of involuntary sort of actions that lead to sort of crimes, whatnot. There's a difference between insane automatisms and sane automatisms. And I mean, ultimately, it comes down to I'm fairly sure this comes down to whether you get put in a mental hospital, mental asylum, or whether I think you basically can walk free or maybe go to jail. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But look into this. It's fairly interesting stuff. And this is the thing. Like I said, Kenneth Parks, he was just acquitted of both charges because he didn't do anything wrong, right?
Yeah, well,
He went to sleep.
not consciously.
No, consciously
Yeah.
he did not do anything. He went to sleep and he woke up and he didn't
His body
do
had
it.
done something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. His body put his body in jail, let his mind be free.
It's true. Free his spirit.
Look, Kenneth, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to put your mind into this automaton body. Your body will go to jail.
You'll get uploaded.
Uploaded into the cloud, yeah.
You put it in a potato.
Okay.
It'll just kill your body.
Gladys
Well,
Portal
that's
2.
exactly what I was thinking.
I think that's worse. I think that's worse. Yeah, so this is the thing.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it the thing?
it's the thing. Yeah.
No
So
way.
that's most of sleepwalking. I do have some misconceptions here. Do you guys want to go through maybe some misconceptions just quickly? Just a couple?
Absolutely.
Sleepwalking is demonic possession.
That's not there. That is a well, I don't know how common it is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. Well, actually, I know. I don't know if I can say that for sure.
Well, you need a citation for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't for sure say that sleepwalking is not demonic possession.
Could
Yeah.
be.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I can't make that statement unless we do some kind of study on it. You know,
Mm.
Luke's demon just really wanted him to pee. Yes, pee.
Make that bowl wet.
But you're so smart. You went for the bowl every time. He
Exactly.
wanted you to pee on the floor. But you're
Ah,
so clever.
thank you, champ.
You walked over to the bowl and did it in there.
It was actually that little Victorian child. He was fighting that demon in there.
Ah,
Luke's got a lot
A
of
battle for possession.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was asleep. It was
Yeah.
a Victorian child fighting a demon. The
Mummy will tell me
child-
off if I pee on the floor.
Exactly. It'd actually be Mama.
My mum will tell me off.
Oh wait, is this a rich Victorian child? I thought it was a poor Victorian child.
Ma.
Or
don't know.
was he rich and he became a poor one after
Oh.
he was mysteriously orphaned?
After he
Ooh.
mysteriously peed on all of his carpets.
Or was he framed for the peeing by his uncle? Who knows?
No, he was doing it in his sleep, but the criminal justice system wasn't ready for that. So he got blamed for it all.
Put to death.
He was hit with all the costs.
Okay, let's
Electric chair.
let's circle back to this Sci Guys
Oh,
lore
yeah.
at some point later. Okay,
The misconceptions.
the misconceptions. So some people think sleepwalkers are acting out their dreams. They ain't. That's not necessarily true. I mean, you can have dreams that you're sort of peeing and like wake up and you're peeing, but sleepwalking isn't inherently acting out your dream. So it's not quite what we kind of alluded to at the start, that your body isn't paralyzed, so you're acting out your dreams. It is more the sort of, like I said, that sort of lower brain just doing stuff.
Mm.
It's like, ooh, the daddy has gone to sleep.
It's time
I
to do
shall
stuff.
get up and play.
Yeah, lizard brain.
Yeah. Another misconception is that waking a sleepwalker up while they're sleepwalking can cause them to injure themselves or cause some problem. No, it's really hard to wake someone up when they're sleepwalking. But it won't cause any harm if to wake them up. But if you're trying to wake them up, they could try and sort of defend themselves. Bear in mind that they can't really see you. Right, they're not really fully aware of you, and they're like you said, Luke, it's like their lizard brain that's in control. So if you start grabbing them and shaking them, they're going to be like,
Fight you.
"Wah!"
Yeah.
You know. Although they probably won't be. They might be doing some cool taekwondo. I don't actually know where that's stored in the brain. I don't know. You got to learn it first,
In the
obviously.
Scuttle off. Their tail would fall off.
Or perhaps they will strike and
Just shed.
or just pull a Komodo dragon and like just bite you and wait for you to die. Another misconception, which is kind of relevant, is that sleepwalkers are violent and look out for try to find revenge. So a lot of these misconceptions. No.
That?
Well, when people hear about this, is apparently
Another
a misconception.
is that sleepwalkers love the taste of blood.
Like this is a misconception in a paper that I found. My point here is that a lot of these misconceptions seem to stem from the idea that there is like some conscious drive behind the actions.
Ah.
Like there's, as in almost, it's like subconscious, like, you know, oh, you're asleep and so you're acting out your trauma or you're
Yeah.
acting out this and that.
Your subconscious desires to murder your family.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people say, oh, when you're drunk, that's the real you.
Mm.
Mm.
No, when I'm drunk, me is stupid.
I'm drunk.
I'm drunk, man. You
Yeah.
know. The thing is that, like, yeah, and this is actually, bear in mind, this is something that I should have probably mentioned earlier, is that when people are sort of really drunk and doing stuff like, you know, it could seem like they're sleepwalking. Those are actually different things, because I'm fairly sure when people are actually like absolutely hammered and doing stuff and seeming like they're sleepwalking, they are still sort of conscious. They're just
Slow.
very drunk. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, another misconception, sleepwalkers have their eyes closed. We covered that already. Sleepwalkers usually have their eyes open. They, you know, they can't see so good, but they can stumble about and get stuff done. Another misconception is that sleepwalking episodes can last for hours. Like I said already, they usually last for a few seconds, few minutes, but they can last longer, obviously, as well. They can, but it's not super common. And that is it for sleepwalking. That's all I know.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot.
A lot.
It's a fair amount, isn't it? So we maybe move on to a quick fire quiz.
Oh, dun 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 dun. Salmonella edition.
Salmonella edition.
What?
Don't worry about it. So you know the rules for the quick. So you know the rules for the quick fire.
Ambulance.
So we know the rules for the quick fire quiz.
Yep.
I will ask one question between the two of you. You have to answer the question after I've finished asking it. The first person to buzz in with correct answer once I've finished asking the question wins. What do they win, Jamp?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
The sweet taste of victory
Yeah.
is what you win.
Very rewarding.
So, Jamp, what is your buzzer?
Ah.
Very good.
Thank you.
Luke, what is your buzzer? It's a really long buzzer.
I thought you were thinking of the buzzer.
So my question for you this week is, what is another word for sleepwalking? Luke.
Sublambulance.
Yeah, I can't actually remember.
Very
what it is,
close.
though. It's
Jab-
samambulation.
I'm going to give it to Jamp because he got more of the syllables
Thank
correct.
you very much. What is it again? Can you remind me?
It's somnambulism.
Ambulism. That's it.
As an
there's an ism,
amble,
there's an
as
ism.
in amble to walk. So sort of
Ah.
perambulator is you walk along that, or to, you know, like
Amble.
preamble.
Yep.
Som as in somnus, sleep,
Mhm.
sleepwalk,
Somnambulism.
somnambulism,
Somnambulism.
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 Yeah.
Somnambulism. This episode started and finished the same way.
Wow.
It's like an episode of
Two
Dark.
bookends.
Isn't it?
Somnambulism.
And with that, I think it's pretty much the end of the episode for us. Anything else you guys want to add?
Somnambulism.
Before we go, we would like to thank all of our patrons with a very special thanks to executive producers Ashley Muller and Finn TZ. And also, thank you for watching. You can find the full references for this episode in the description. Subscribe for new episodes every Sunday, and why not leave us a nice wee comment? You can support the pod at patreon.com/SciGuys, or you can find and contact us at SciGuysPod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or at SciGuys on TikTok too. Or you can send us an email at SciGuysPod@gmail.com.
That's SciGuysPod@gmail.com.
SciGuysPod.
At gmail.com, you can follow me at NotCore everywhere.
You can follow me at Jamkin everywhere.
You can follow me at Luke Cutforth everywhere.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you later.